Madam President, thank you very much. I rise today to talk about, for just a few moments, about the Emergency Economic Stabilization Bill. And I first of all want to commend the work of a number of people here, but in particular Chairman Dodd, who did not want this assignment, had a tough assignment to work with people in both parties and both houses to get this done. And we have a lot more work to do after this, but I want to commend him for his work and for his leadership under very difficult circumstances. There are a lot of ways to describe the challenge that we face in America today economically, and in many ways to describe what we have to get done, what we're going to vote on tonight. I think if you could boil it down to one word or a couple of words, it'd be one word would be credit or lack of credit. And I think that's the basic problem here. By the freezing or seizing up of credit markets, that isn't some far-off economic concept. That means that small businesses in Pennsylvania and across the country can't have access to credit to meet payroll and to hire people and to grow the economy. And that's probably half of our economy is small business, if not more. It means that families, when they go to finance an education, higher education, or when they go to purchase an automobile or something for their home, they can't get access to credit. We live on credit, and thank God we have it. But that system that we rely upon, that families rely upon, is put at risk now because of what's happened lately. We can spend a lot of time figuring out why this happened, and we should after this debate is over. But right now, we have to act. I thought that one headline doesn't tell the whole story, but I think it gave me a sense of what's going on. This is from USA Today on Monday, September 29th. The headline reads, "Tight credit costs small business owners." In one headline, I think it encapsulated the challenge that this problem is for our economy. And I think I'm seeing it not just in headlines and anecdotes about what's happening to people that own small businesses across the country. We're all seeing it as well in the unemployment rate and the job loss across America, which I would argue, as bad as it is now, and a lot of families have been living in this recession. I don't care what the economists say. When you're paying higher prices for gasoline and food and education and health care, everything in the life of a family goes up, you're in a recession. And I think in the last couple of weeks, we've seen a terrible downturn in the job market. In Pennsylvania, for example, between July and August of this year, and this doesn't even include September, where the numbers will be a lot worse, just in 1 month we've lost 31,000 jobs in Pennsylvania. And this isn't just in Philadelphia, a little more than 21,000 jobs, or in Pittsburgh, 7,700. I'm talking about smaller communities as well. Johnstown, Pennsylvania, small labor market on this list. They lost 500 jobs in 1 month. Altoona, Pennsylvania, again, right next door to Johnstown, small market, 500 jobs in 1 month. And again, none of this includes the month of September. So we're seeing it everywhere in our state. If small businesses can't grow and can't have access to credit, they're not going to create the jobs that we need. And one more statistic, and then I'll wrap up. The Pennsylvania foreclosure rate, August 07 versus August 08, up 60%. So even in a state that has been relatively free of some of the trauma that Nevada and California and Florida and some other states have been hit with, even in Pennsylvania, that foreclosure rate is going up at a rate much higher than the national average. So what's this bill about? It's about a couple of things. We've heard a lot about the description of it. I don't believe it's a bailout. We can debate what that means. I don't believe it is. I think it is a stabilization bill to stabilize our economy and our businesses and our families. But there are a lot of taxpayer protections built into this that were not there when we started this. Taxpayer warrants, as Senator Jack Reed talked about today. Reimbursement, so at the end of the road, 5 years from now, if taxpayers haven't gotten what they deserve from this, that these companies that might benefit will have to reimburse. Very tough oversight, several levels of oversight. We don't have time to go into all of them, but a special inspector general to crack down on what's happening when this program is implemented. Limits on CEO and executive pay. First time in American history that we've limited or put some restrictions on that pay. Foreclosure protections, prevention strategies, an expansion of the Hope for Homeowners, good legislation which we're making even stronger. And finally, Finally, what we have to do after this is over, as important as this legislation is, we've got to get to work on regulation. And we have to not just implement the right policies to regulate in ways that we didn't regulate before in America, but also, once those regulations are in place, we need to have people in Washington who are willing to crack heads, figuratively of course, on those who abuse the public trust, those who abuse the rules, and get people into mortgages, for example, that they can't pay for. And finally, we have to make sure that in the months ahead and the years ahead, we invest in the long-term economy, invest in health care and education, the skills of our worker to build a strong economy, not just for this year and next year, but for the next generation. But in the end, this legislation that we're voting on tonight is about credit. We're either going to do something about it and allow people to have access to credit, or we're not. I think we have to act, and we have to act promptly. Madam President, I yield the floor.